Hello, Joyce. Joyce Mills, welcome. It's such a joy to see you today and to reconnect with you. And I want to tell you, for so many years, I am absolutely a StoryPlay fan. And so basically, we really appreciate you, the editors of the Nature-Based Play and Expressive Therapies book, are so honored to have a chapter on StoryPlay in the book. So if you could just please share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about StoryPlay for some people that don't know what that is.
Sure. Well, first of all, hello. I am so happy to be with you and looking forward to this. And congratulations. I can hardly wait to read the rest of the chapters. I mean, they look so amazing. So I don't even want to talk about me, but, I'm here in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And I love it here. It's beautiful. Sun's out. It's great. People are wonderful. And a few years ago, I kind of decided to devote my time to training. So I stopped seeing individual clients and have been devoting myself to StoryPlay training and things that are connected to StoryPlay, which evolved from my work as an Ericksonian, from the work of Milton Erickson, and then about 35 years of really relational work with Indigenous people and internationally. So I learned so much. And so there's all these roots, which is kind of, there's actually a figure in the chapter with the roots of StoryPlay, so people can read it and enjoy.
And those roots are actually a tree, right?
Yeah, and actually that's the vision I've always had, is a tree. So everything I've always done has been in nature. And, that's been like an essence. It's also an essence of Dr. Erickson's work too, because he would give assignments to people and they had a lot to do with nature. Always with nature. So there was that whole nature theme woven within, and I've always loved it. And so, you asked a little bit about me. I lived in California, and then my husband and I moved to Hawaii. And 10 days after we moved to Kauai, Hurricane Iniki struck, and it wiped the whole island out. And for me, it was a powerful teaching moment, because it took what I was doing with everyday individual clients, in work, and now took what was happening in nature and transforming it into healing models. So, for example, in the chapter, I talk about creating a peace garden. Okay, with stones that you have, because we want to kind of envision what peace would look like. And that actually came. It's kind of evolved, but from the hurricane work, then I was asked to be part of the program from Children and Families of 911. And, after that, so I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but that's kind of how my mind works. My mind's like popcorn. And Janet, you know me well. So I have a playful mind, it's like a kid in there jumping around. And so those ideas, I love them. Yeah, so I love that. And so during the hurricane, what we did is we took what was damaged and broken and created earthcrafts. So we found, like, we had what was called natural healing. So we didn't have the typical debriefing teams in the program that I helped co-develop with local people there. And so we would find broken pieces of a house or a roof or wood, and we just spread it all outside, because there was no electricity or very little running water. There were no telephones, and we've got donated paints and things like that. And so we created earth crafts, and that's part of that is mentioned in the chapter as well. So how you can take what is damaged, what is broken, is a powerful metaphor when you look at it with relationship to individual children who might be hurt, to families who are struggling, and to also communities that might have gone through disasters which are happening now throughout the world, and especially, in Ukraine right now. So those are just some of the things. And it stimulates my heart when I see people using things from nature that, and nature's our best teacher. It's our best teacher. The whole focus of StoryPlay, it's a resiliency focused model. It's not a trauma focused model. It heals trauma through resiliency. So you're always looking for the gift that is hidden, the light that's hidden within. And I think that's something that I've learned through living through disasters, how nature has a way of speaking to us in a metaphor rather than a linear teaching, because it will speak and talk and show and vibrate, bring vibrations in a way that that a linear model cannot do.
Beautiful. Oh, Joyce, I could just sit and listen to you all day. And I love the focus on metaphor. And, when you think of nature, I mean, that nature's our best metaphor everywhere you turn.
Wherever you turn. I mean, you think about the seasons, okay? Just something simple, like I use when I'm teaching storytelling, and it's always like the seasons. Okay, well, every season has its own magic. Every season changes. So why do we think we can't change? Why do we think that a scar that a child has is a scar? It's a scar, but it's a marker of what's been, not what is coming. And so we can heal. So when nature, for example, when a tree is knocked over, it's amazing what happens to that tree.
And you had a metaphor of that in Hawaii too.
Yes, I did. I have a metaphor of that where a tree in my front yard. I mean, a huge tree was and I thought, oh, okay, I'm just going to have the guys who were there in their with the cane field trucks and so forth. They came by, and this one guy, Pete, I said, oh, go ahead, take the wood. You can use it for fire, for your family and so forth. And he goes, oh no, Auntie, no. He says, that's a Milo tree. That's a sacred tree in Kauai. And he says, we're going to stand it back up and replant it. You see, when you replant it, its roots reach down deeper and it gets the nourishment it needs. Don't worry, Auntie, it will grow back stronger than before. And he didn't know, Pete, his name was Pete, he didn't know that I was a storyteller. So I sat down on a big stump and I watched the trucks do this, lift it. And it was amazing because as they did it, I was kind of like a little trance, meditating on it. But I could feel as the tree was uprighted, so was I. Something happened. And I was, and I looked to say how my roots could reach down deeper. And sure enough, 4 months later, that tree was amazing. It was truly blossoming. And again, 9 years later, after we moved, it was huge. So that tree became a symbol as well, which has to do, with StoryPlay and life and our nature. I mean, I could go on about nature forever because it's what I've used forever.
Joyce, I am so touched by that story. And that's not the first time I've heard that story either, but it still touches me really deeply. And I almost want to cry, because I love how you shared that story, and it's healing for me. And I know that the people that are listening to this right now, whatever they're needing, they will be healed, and they will touch something within them too. I really feel that deeply. Thank you so much for sharing that story. So anyway, we're just doing like a short, brief time together. And I just want to thank you so much. And I hopefully the people that are listening are going to say, oh, I really encourage you. And they're going to be very blessed to be able to read your chapter. And you also co-authored that chapter with Danny Woods. And
Yes.
so they'll be able to see that wonderful collaboration for that chapter that you wrote. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I know how very busy you are right now, to be able to come on and to share about StoryPlay, which is really truly a heart for me too. I'm very connected to you. You've been a
Oh,
mentor
yeah.
of mine for a long time. I'm so grateful to you, deep down grateful to you, Joyce, forever.
Thank you.
So, okay, well, we're going to go ahead. Is there any last thing that you would like to say?
I think the only last thing I want to say is for people to just find a stone
Okay.
and to just hold that stone and to just let it speak to them. Let it show them something that they need to know that will be helpful in their life, because they always talk to us. They talk to our mind, our body, our soul, and our heart. So thank you, Janet. Thank you, everyone, for putting this book together. Thank you to Danny, too. And blessings to everybody. As you read this book, please know that it's about healing. It's about healing. And so thank you for bringing that forward and including me in this journey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for bringing the magic to life. And I love you very much.
Love you too. Goodbye.